Please be seated. President, members of Council, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, heads of school, academic colleagues, professional colleagues and distinguished guests, and most especially our graduating class of 2024, you're most welcome to this, the first of the RCSI summer conferring events. Before declaring open the conferring ceremonies of RCSI University of Medicine and Health Sciences and the National University of Ireland, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce the platform party. At the top table is Professor Laura Vianney, President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. Following on then from the right side of the platform, we have Dr. Patrick O'Leary, Registrar of the National University of Ireland, Ms. Lisa May Gregory, Head of Registry Services at RCSI, Professor Barry Maguire, Professor of Postgraduate Surgical Education and Academic Development at RCSI, Professor Lisa Alexander, Director of the Physician Associate Programme at RCSI, Professor Darren O'Connor, Head of our School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter, FRS OBE, our candidate for Honorary Doctorate, Professor Hannah McGee, Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and my name is Cathal Kelly, Vice-Chancellor CEO, and today I'll also assume the role as Pro-Vice-Chancellor of the National University of Ireland. RCSI degrees are under Irish legislation, but they are also degrees of the National University of Ireland. It now gives me enormous pleasure to invite Professor Laura Vianney, President of RCSI, to come forward and address our graduating class.
So good morning, everybody. So good morning, Registrar NUI, Pro-Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Deans, Council members, heads of school, supervisors, RCSI staff, distinguished guests, and particularly family members, partners, friends, and our Honorary Doctorate recipient, Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter. You're all very welcome in this lovely morning. At least we have no rain this morning, which is a good thing. So as RCSI President, it is my pleasure to welcome you all, our candidates for conferring today, and offer you my sincere congratulations. All of us in RCSI are extremely proud of you. You worked so hard to reach this significant milestone. And I hope that you look back on your time here as having been truly formative, that academic endeavour and research will be core values in your future careers. We also acknowledge your families and friends who've made sacrifices to support your career and who are surely incredibly proud of you today. We acknowledge the commitment of the academic research and professional staff at RCSI who taught and encouraged you and who share in your celebration today. And today we thank Professor Hannah McGee in particular as she prepares to retire from her role as Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs at RCSI. Hannah has been instrumental in the advancement of the postgraduate offering at RCSI, making your graduation today possible. Hannah, we are very, very grateful to you for all you've done for RCSI and for all of our students. So the postgraduate awards we confer are prestigious, internationally recognised qualifications which signify your knowledge, clinical and technical skills and your commitment to your profession. They open up a world of opportunity as you set out on an exciting journey. And as your career progresses, I encourage you to play a role in the education of junior colleagues, contribute to your professional organisations and societies, and can engage constructively in the settings you work. Today you've joined the RCSI community of more than 32,000 alumni who are making difference worldwide and from many, many countries, over 100 countries. I urge you to maintain the strong links you now have with RCSI and form close bonds with your colleagues. RCSI is committed to driving global improvements in health and well-being, the third UN Sustainable Development Goal. Indeed, we are ranked the #1 university in the world for our impact by Times Higher Education. Our ambition is that by educating the healthcare leaders of the future, we will continue to have a positive influence on healthcare outcomes around the world. Later in today's ceremony, you will hear from our esteemed candidate for Honorary Doctorate, Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter, Emeritus Professor of Statistics at the University of Cambridge. Professor Sir Spiegelhalter has greatly influenced the use of statistics in healthcare. I think his words today will inspire us all. So congratulations, Professor Sir Spiegelhalter. We are proud that you are becoming part of our RCSI community. Finally, let me congratulate again all our graduates. Above all else, today is a celebration of your hard work, dedication and focus. And I wish you every success and hope that you truly enjoy this most special day in your lives. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, President. We now proceed to the awarding of the RCSI University of Medicine and Health Sciences Honorary Doctorate DSc. RCSI's Honorary Doctorate Award celebrates exceptional individuals who've positively impacted the world through education, research, or service. At RCSI, we believe that our graduates too hold similar potential to make a difference, and we hope by hearing of the stories of people who have made a difference to inspire you on your special day. Today we confer the award of Honorary Doctorate on Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter, FRCS, OBE, Emeritus Professor of Statistics in the Centre for Mathematical Sciences at the University of Cambridge. I'm delighted now to invite Professor Hannah McGee, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, to come forward and deliver the citation for our 2024 Honorary Doctorate recipient, Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter.
President, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our candidate to the RCSI Honorary Doctorate Award, Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter. Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter is Emeritus Professor of Statistics in the Centre of Mathematical Sciences at the University of Cambridge. Sir David is a leading statistician who has made significant contributions to the field of statistics and is one of the most frequently cited experts in the field. Sir David began his career studying mathematics at Oxford University and completed a PhD in statistics in University College London in 1978. He spent a year overseas teaching at the University of Berkeley, California, before returning to the United Kingdom, to Nottingham and then to Cambridge. From 1981, he worked at the Medical Research Council Biostatistics Unit at Cambridge, and in 2007 he became Winton Professor of the Public Understanding of Risk, for a period dividing his work between the Cambridge Statistical Laboratory and the MRC unit. He then became chair of the Winton Centre for Risk and Evidence Communication, a centre which aimed to provide the way in which statistical evidence is used, to improve the way in which statistical evidence is used by health professionals, patients, lawyers and judges, media and policymakers. Sir David is also a leading author and has written many books. His best-selling book, The Art of Statistics, Learning from Data, emphasizes the importance of statistical literacy and uses real-world problems to demonstrate the essential principles to gain insights from data. His work during the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the importance of clear communication of statistical evidence, and he was instrumental in helping the general public understand complex statistical data. His book entitled COVID by Numbers, Making Sense of the Pandemic with Data, provides a comprehensive and insightful read into a significant global event, exposing misconceptions and answering essential questions. Sir David has played a significant role in 3 major public inquiries in the United Kingdom. His involvement in the Bristol Royal Infirmary inquiry was central in evaluating paediatric cardiac surgical services. In addition, his statistical expertise was essential in the Shipman inquiry into Dr. Harold Shipman, the infamous general practitioner convicted of multiple patient homicides. And more recently, he worked for the UK infected blood inquiry, estimating the number of deaths attributable to contaminated blood products in the 1970s and 1980s. His work in these inquiries exemplified the impact and importance of statistical analysis on public health. Throughout his distinguished career, Sir David has won many prestigious awards and recognitions, and he was knighted in 2024 for his services to medical statistics. He's been president of the Royal Statistical Society from 2017 to 2018 and became a non-executive director of the UK Statistics Authority in 2020. He has contributed to the successful PREDICT tools for breast and prostate cancer, which help patients to make informed decisions about the risks and benefits of their cancer treatment. Possessing that remarkable blend of wit and wisdom, Sir David is a highly entertaining researcher, and he has made regular appearances as a presenter and broadcaster and commentator. He's presented the BBC4 documentaries Traits You Win, The Science of Chance, where he describes and demonstrates how chance works. He also jointly presented the award-winning BBC programme Climate Change by Numbers, which looked at 3 key numbers that clarify the important questions on climate change. He is also featured on BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs, if you're a fan, in 2022, and again, highlighting his entertaining character, he took part in an episode of the BBC One's competitive Winter Wipeout, even though as a leading statistician, he knew, and I quote from himself, "I don't stand a chance." David, we are delighted to welcome you here to RCSI today. We are very proud that you, who have been instrumental in improving the way that statistical evidence is used for public good, have joined our special graduation ceremony as a most worthy candidate to accept the highest academic award of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, the Honorary Doctorate in Science. And I now call on the President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, Professor Laura Vianney, to make the award.
So by virtue of my office of President, it gives me great honour to award you an Honorary Doctorate of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. So congratulations.
It now gives me great pleasure to invite the 2024 RCSI Honorary Doctorate recipient, Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter, to address us on this very special day.
President, Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, eminent people, students, guests, thank you very much. It's a great honour to receive this honorary doctorate from RCSI, particularly following the list of extraordinary people who have received this before me, which you can see in the programme. And thanks so very much for the kind words about my career. I've had a rather odd career, really, and it's very gratifying to be acknowledged by this award, although I wonder whether it really was because of my performance in Winter Wipeout. It's also a great pleasure to be back walking the streets of Dublin again. Wonderful streets. I was here, spent a lot of time here in 2013. I remember working with Michael John Gorman and Evine Huluan on a Risk Lab event at the Science Gallery just down the road, when we set up a roulette table with mock money. And I remember watching one young girl came in, and she just had such fun putting the same amount on each roll on red and on black. And so it evened out, and so she could just keep on playing. And then it landed on 0. And she lost a lot. And in a little lip, and I thought she kept back her tears. And I thought, well, that's going to teach her not to gamble. I'm here at the RCSI, but to be honest, I haven't much experience of surgery, apart from being cut open myself on occasions. But I've worked on statistical methods for comparing surgeons, including, as we've heard, the Bristol heart surgery inquiry, when we estimated that around 35 more babies had died than would have been expected. But my surgical hero is Professor Mark de Laval of Great Ormond Street, now sadly no longer with us. And I worked with him when he had a sequence of deaths following the switch operation for transposition of the great arteries. And he stopped, he stopped operating and went and retrained with Bill Braun at Birmingham. And I worked with him on using industrial quality control methods, adapting them to work out when he could have spotted, if he'd been monitoring his data carefully using statistical methods, when he could have spotted when something was going wrong. And this, as far as I know, is the first application of these methods of Q-sums and so on into surgical monitoring. The cluster of failures paper is now a bit of a classic. And I was so impressed at Mark, not just being a brilliant surgeon, but being brave enough to acknowledge his failures. I mean, I've watched surgery, adult surgery, Bruce Keogh and Mark doing congenital heart surgery, and it just made me realize I've chosen the right career. At one time, I was on the editorial board of a very short-lived journal called Theoretical Surgery. Yeah, these are theoretical surgeons' hands, and that's what they should remain. I actually really feel I don't deserve this honor, particularly when I look at the other recipients, because I've spent my whole life suffering from chronic imposter syndrome. I don't know if any of you do. Do you feel the same as I do, that at any moment somebody was going to jump out of the audience and say, "You're a fraud, you shouldn't be here"? This fear of being found out. And I think it may have started because I started doing maths at university, but frankly wasn't good enough, and shifted to statistics, which is a brilliant thing to do, best thing I ever did. You know, not everyone likes their statistics courses, I believe, to put it mildly, and neither did I to start with, but it actually has ended up suiting me very well. And, you know, but I've always felt my maths wasn't good enough, but I've got away with it so far, and now finally, 5 years after retirement, I think I've got over it. I deserve to be here. So I'm just going to bask in the enjoyment of getting this award. So for those of you who suffer from it, you can overcome it, eventually. Now, a shameless plug, I've got a new book coming out, The Art of Uncertainty, available from all good booksellers from September the 19th. And that covers probability, risk, chance, coincidences, ignorance, and luck, all that usual stuff. Now, it may seem odd that a statistician obsessed with data is so concerned with luck, but I find the idea fascinating. It's been called the operation of chance, taken personally. You know, I don't think it's some external force. It just represents all the unpredictable things that affect us and we can't control. Now, I don't know what you believe. You may believe that what happens in the world is fate and destiny, or it's just random, or it's determined by the will of God. It doesn't actually matter too much, I don't think. Stuff just happens, and we have to deal with it. And it turns out philosophers have identified 3 main types of luck, which I think is really useful. The first is called constitutive luck, and it's the luck of who you were born as, your time and place in history, who your parents were, what your genes were, maybe how much of your character is there, your early upbringing, all these things over which we have zero control, and yet does have such a strong influence. There's circumstantial luck, which is being at the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time. And then there's resultant luck, which is how things just happened to turn out for you at that instant. So my example is my grandfather, Cecil Spiegelhalter, born in the 1880s, really bad constitutive luck, just in time to be a man ready for the First World War. And then he was on the British side, by the way, although his father had been an economic migrant from Germany. He had the terrible circumstantial luck of being appointed as brigade gas officer in Ypres section in early 1918. He lasted 3 weeks in the job, which I think was doing quite well, before being blown up just north of Passchendaele. But then he had the good resultant luck of only being injured and then being relieved of his frontline duties. Meanwhile, his battalion was sent off to the safe Somme sector just in time to meet the Kaiser's offensive and being overwhelmed. Of course, you've got to think, if he hadn't been so lucky, I wouldn't be here. There'd be somebody else standing here and doing it. I wouldn't even exist, and you wouldn't know I didn't exist. So it brought home to me the fact that we each exist only by a whole series of little extraordinary sequence of unpredictable micro-contingencies. Now, I've got completely obsessed about this. I've researched the weather at the time of my conception. So my parents were living in an unheated stone cottage in Devon in 1952, November 1952. There was a really cold snap. And here I am. So people tend to ascribe their good fortune to their skills and their efforts and their willpower and so, but I don't think I'm alone in thinking that so much of what happens to us is our constitutive luck, just how we were born as. And it points to me to the importance of making the best of the hand you've been dealt, whatever that is. Luck researchers, yeah, what a job, really. Anyway, they've concluded that so-called lucky people tend to share some characteristics. They spot and take advantage of any opportunities they encounter. They have good intuition about appropriate actions. They have positive expectations and giving them confidence to act. And they have resilience to deal with adverse events and turn them to their advantage. Now, how many of those can you tick? Can you tick those boxes? I wish I could. Anyway, but if you have got those, then you're likely to be a lucky person. But actually, maybe you have to have the constitutive luck to be born with those characteristics. I'm not sure. But I think the fact that I was part of the boomer generation, I was born in 1953, is part of my massive constitutive luck. When I was young, and like other people my age, I had excellent free schooling and healthcare, no university fees, generous maintenance grant. I assumed I could have a job for as long as I wanted, and I did. I just stayed in the same job for 32 years, for heaven's sakes. And my generation got steadily richer as property prices went up, and we ate all the pies, to be honest. It's got to be honest. And it's rather different now. We seem to be living in an age of uncertainty, both from the perspective of global society, the threats that we all face, and each of us personally. It's a tough time for young people. It really is. But I'm in awe at the positivity I see in my children and others. They're flexible, they change jobs, they treat uncertainty as an opportunity. It's really inspiring, very impressive indeed. So as I said, part of the hand I was dealt was being quite good at maths, or no, not good enough. And I managed to find statistics, which has suited me because it combines some technical skills with really interesting challenges, as you've heard, estimating 3,000 people had died because of infected blood in the UK, and so on. And wonderful people to work with. All my work is deeply collaborative. Now, if you go to your life coach, which I'm sure you all do now and then, they will maybe consider 4 questions about what you might want to do with your life. You know, they ask you to say, are you doing something that you love doing, you're passionate about, that's useful, that you're good at, and even better, that you can get paid for? Now, again, can you tick those 4 boxes? I'm amazingly lucky. I have been able to tick those 4 boxes. So I found a niche that provided all of these. And all I can do is say, I wish you all that good fortune too. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Sir David. I hate to break it to you, you have been found out and justifiably honoured. Thank you very much. We now move forward with the opening of the RCSI NUI conferring ceremony. Dr. Patrick O'Leary, Registrar of the National University of Ireland, will open the NUI conferring ceremony, and this will be followed by the opening of the RCSI conferring by Professor Hannah McGee. I would now like to invite all our graduates to stand, and I call on the Registrar of the NUI to formally open the NUI conferring ceremony.
Universitas Hiberniae Nationalis, Pre Honorables Cancellariae Totaque Universitas, He Comitia Universitariae Hoda Convocata sunt, ut heit mulieres maxima exami, et heit viri maxima exami, ad gradus academicos admittantur. This is a meeting of the National University of Ireland for the purpose of conferment of degrees. The graduands will be presented by Professor Hannah McGee, Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Academic Affairs, RCSI, and the degrees will be conferred by Professor Cathal Kelly, Pro Vice-Chancellor of the National University of Ireland.
This is a meeting of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland for the purpose of conferring degrees and licentiates. I will present the graduands in my role as Deputy Vice-Chancellor, and the degrees will be conferred by Professor Laura Vianney, President of RCSI. I now declare open the conferring ceremony and invite the graduands for the Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies only to remain standing to recite the graduate declaration. Graduates, you will find the declaration on page 14 of your conferring booklet. The RCSI Graduate Declaration, which you'll recite together this afternoon, is a commitment to the highest standards of professionalism and ethical practice in your career as taught during your studies in RCSI. And it gives me great pleasure on this special day of your conferring to invite the graduates of the Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies to recite together after me the following declaration. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity.
I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity.
The health of my patient will be my first concern.
The health of my patient will be my first concern.
I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
I will maintain the utmost respect for human life.
I will remember that there is art to my profession and my science, and that warmth, empathy, and understanding may outweigh treatment alone.
I will remember that there is art to my profession and my science, and that warmth, empathy, and understanding may outweigh treatment alone.
I will uphold the highest ethical standards and demonstrate unwavering academic integrity in my chosen profession.
I will uphold the highest ethical standards and demonstrate unwavering academic integrity in my chosen profession.
I will respect any confidential information that is entrusted in me even after a patient has died.
I will respect any confidential information that is entrusted in me even after a patient has died.
I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and the patient.
I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender,
I will not use my professional knowledge to violate human rights or civil liberties, even under threat.
I will not use my professional knowledge to violate human rights or civil liberties, even under threat.
I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those in whose steps I walk and gladly share such knowledge with those that follow.
I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those in whose steps I walk and gladly share such knowledge with those that follow.
I will abide by the code of conduct of my profession, and I will promote the highest standards of practice, lifelong education and research in the interests of human health.
I will abide by the code of conduct of my profession, and I will promote the highest standards of practice, lifelong education and research in the interests of human health.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honour.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honour.
Thank you. You may be seated. And I now invite the graduates to stand receiving awards in Master of Science, Advanced Surgical Practice, and by Research, Master of Surgery, Doctor of Medicine, and Doctor of Philosophy. If you'd please stand. And you will find the declaration on page 15 of your conferring booklet. So I now invite you graduates to recite after me the following declaration. I acknowledge my position at the forefront of my field of learning and scholarship. I understand my responsibility to use this learning to contribute and lead in my community. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will uphold the highest ethical standards and demonstrate unwavering academic integrity in my chosen profession. I will respect any confidential information that is entrusted in me. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to interfere with my duties in my chosen profession. I will not use my knowledge to violate human rights or civil liberties, even under threat. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those in whose steps I walk and gladly share such knowledge with those that follow. I will promote the highest standards of practice, lifelong education and research in the interests of human health. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honour. I now ask the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Clinical Practice, Physician Associate Studies, and Master of Science by Research to remain standing as I present you for conferring, and then if others would take their seats. Pre Honorables Cancellariae, totaque Universitas, presento vobis hos meus filius et has meus filias, quos omnes sciotam moribus, quam doctrina habiles et idoneus esse qui admittantur honoris causa. Et gradum magisteri scientiae idique tibi fide mea testor et spandeo toteque academiae. And I now invite the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of NUI to admit the graduates.
Ego authoritate mihi concessa, admitto vos ad graduam magisteri scientiae.
I now invite the President of RCSI to admit the graduates.
By virtue of my office of President, I admit you graduates of the Master of Science in Advanced Clinical Practice, Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies, and Master of Science by Research.
I now invite Professor Mary Maguire, Professor of Postgraduate Surgical Education and Academic Development, RCSI, to come forward to the lectern and introduce the graduate.
I invite our graduate, Orla Keenan, to come forward. Congratulations, Orla.
now invite Professor Lisa Alexander, Programme Director of Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies, to come forward to the lectern and introduce the graduates.
I will now call on the graduates to come forward. Sarah Brannigan. Diego Caexa. Nicole Coffey. Marilyn Forcha. Ian Furlong. Barbara Hughes. Marta Kosinska. David Morrissey. Alice Murphy. Shannon Price. Sinead Regan. Sinead has also won the Physician Associate Award ex equio. Julia Shaw. And Julia has also won the Physician Associate Award ex equio. Jade Slater. Gina Tucker. That concludes the conferment of the Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies. Congratulations to you all.
I now invite Professor Darren O'Connor, Head of the School of Postgraduate Studies, to come forward to the lectern and introduce the graduates for Master of Science.
I will now call on each graduate to come forward to receive your parchment. Rabia Salim. Sujitra Srinivas. That concludes the conferment of the degree of Master in Science. Congratulations.
I now invite the graduates for degree of Master of Surgery, MCH by module, to be upstanding as I present you for conferring. Pre Honorables Cancellariae, totaque Universitas, presento vos hos meos filios et has meas filias, quos amnes scio tam moribus quam doctrina habiles eiudenes esse qui admittantur honores causa ad gradum doctoratus in magisteri icirigurie eque dibi fide mea testor expondeo totaque academiae. I now invite the Pro-Vice Chancellor of NUI to admit the graduates.
Ego authoritate mihi concessa, admitto vos ad graduam magisteria in chirurgiae.
I now invite the President of RCSI to admit the graduates.
By virtue of my Office of President, I admit you graduates of the Master of Surgery by module.
And I now invite Professor Barry Maguire to come forward to introduce the graduates.
I will now call on each graduate to come forward. Oludar Eranakor Alabi. Christine Joyce Cadiz. Nicola Cullen. Ayman Ahmed Mohammed Alaman. Saeed Yusuf Khalid. Aisha Nafa Salim. Kate Summers. That concludes the conferment of the Master of Surgery by module.
I now invite the graduates for Doctor of Medicine to please be upstanding as I present you for conferring. Pre Honorables Cancellariae, Totaque Universitas, presento vobis hos meus filius et has meus filias, quo omnes scita moribus quam doctrina hebiles eidoneus esse qui admittantur, honoris causa ad gradum doctoratus in medicinae, itque tibi fiat mea testor expondeo totaque academiae. I now invite the Pro-Vice Chancellor of NUI to admit the graduates.
Ego authoritate mihi concessa, admitto vos ad graduum doctoratus in medicina.
I now invite the President of RCSI to admit the graduates.
By virtue of my Office of President, I admit you graduates of the Doctorate of Medicine.
And I invite Professor Darren O'Connor to come forward to the lectern to introduce the graduates.
I will now invite each graduate to come forward to receive your parchment. Name and thesis title will be included. William Duggan, Fusobacterium infection and SRPK1 as modulators of prognosis in chemotherapy response in mucinous colorectal cancer. Enda Hannon, robotic colorectal surgery, the utilization of robotic technology in challenging pathologies in vulnerable patients. Meredith Kinoshita, methods of assessing breast milk intake in preterm infants. Niall Lanan, evaluation of biomechanics and histology of native aortic coarctation tissue, understanding the need for bespoke patient therapies. Catherine Mulryan, introducing a network of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease multidisciplinary teams linked to lung volume reduction services in Ireland, analysis of health economic implications. Emer O'Brien, evidence-based guidance in general practice, exploring general practitioner preferences, content prioritization and dissemination. Claire Power, prevalence, clinical characteristics and genotype of children with congenital imprinting disorders in Ireland. Lisa Pryor, combination of the PI3K inhibitor copanlisib with HER2-directed targets trastuzumab and trastuzumab emtansine in patients with advanced HER2-positive breast cancer. Congratulations also to my own MD student, Maidi Lucas, who will be conferred in absentia today. That concludes the conferment of the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Congratulations, everyone.
I now invite the graduates for Doctor of Philosophy to be upstanding as I present you for conferring. Pre Honorables Cancellariae, totaque Universitas, presento vobis hos meus filius et has meus filias, quo omnes, scitam moribus, quam doctrina habiles et idoneus esse, qui adbitanter honoris causa ad gradum doctoratus in philosophia, itque tibi fide mea tester expondeo totaque academiae. I now invite the Pro Vice-Chancellor of NUI to admit the graduates.
Ego authoritate mihi concessa, admitto vos ad graduum doctoratus philosophiae.
I now invite the President of RCSI to admit the graduates.
By virtue of my office of President, I admit you graduates of the Doctor of Philosophy.
I now invite Professor Darren O'Connor to come forward to the lectern and to introduce the graduates.
I will now invite each graduate to come forward to receive your parchments. Name and thesis title will be included. Isabel Boothman, identifying genetic risk factors and developing predictive models for specific adverse drug reactions induced by particular anti-seizure medication. Ronan Cahill, aerosols, airflow and airspace contamination during laparoscopic surgery. Francis Cleary, developing embedded fabric computing edge intelligence for healthcare e-textile applications. Claire Comerford, elucidating the role of von Willebrand factor in multiple myeloma disease biology. Kevin Conlon, chronic pancreatitis, insights into an orphan disease. Colette Cunningham, an e-health education intervention to improve kangaroo care knowledge, confidence, and a general evidence-based practice self-efficacy of neonatal nurses, a complex mixed methods evaluation study. Our valedictorian, Dervla Doherty, low von Willebrand factor levels, novel pathological insights, and therapeutic strategies. Lauren Fagan, a novel role for nutrient receptors in cartilage and joint disease, dissecting the circadian and metabolic responses to IL-1 beta versus TNF in chondrocytes and relevance for osteoarthritis. Aoife Feely, surgical priming, the role and validity of virtual reality in a preoperative setting to improve proficiency in surgical trainees. Lindsay Flanagan, targeting the anti-apoptotic BCL2 dependence in multiple myeloma. Ciara Gallagher, CAD-M1 is modulated by TGF-beta signaling through MIR200A3P in high-risk neuroblastoma. Viveka Guzman, older people's well-being, interventions and support during epidemics, perspectives from the COVID-19 pandemic, implications for the future. Haritha Jacob, development of polylactic co-glycolic acid nanoparticles for the sustained release of MCC 950 for the treatment of post-traumatic osteoarthritis. Karen Jordan, metabolic surgery for the treatment of comorbid type 2 diabetes and obesity in adults in Ireland, evaluating the evidence. Fergal Kavanagh, an investigation of changes in surgical practice in otolaryngology during the COVID-19 pandemic. Aoife Carney, carbapenemase producing Enterobacterialis, identifying drivers of transmission in healthcare environments. Ellen King, DNA and mRNA vaccines for neuroblastoma, design, development, and immunogenicity testing. Katie McCormick, development of non-viral gene-based therapeutics for application in bone tissue engineering. And my own PhD scholar, Rachel Moore, exploring the role and therapeutic potential of ubiquitin-specific peptidase 11 in estrogen receptor-positive breast cancer. Hannon Mullett, shoulder instability in an athletic population, the role of the latter jet procedure. Charlotte Myers, COVID-19 and the impact of societal determinants of health on health-related outcomes in women with breast cancer, a prospective cohort study. Paul O'Dowd, exploiting click chemistry in the design of next-generation platinum probes. Siobhan O'Flaherty, new approaches to enhance the sustainability of solid phase peptide synthesis and the applicability of solution phase peptide conjugation. Donna O'Shea, a gene-activated, injectable and 3D printable hydrogel for articular cartilage repair. Vicky Sandys, can the use of artificial intelligence and wearable technology enable the optimization of fluid status in hemodialysis patients? Bhairavi Sawant, evaluation of the use of transparent polypropylene jerry cans as reactors for solar water disinfection. Oren Shelley, factors influencing death and disability following burn injury and measures to improve outcome. Christopher Simpson, development of a thermoresponsive hydrogel as a minimally invasive drug delivery platform for bone regeneration. Conor Toll, the utility of high-stakes technical performance assessments in surgical training, establishing a framework across a continuum from selection to certification. And Mark Michelle Wilson, profiling of M6A RNA methylation reveals epitranscriptomic regulation of multiple key pathways in human lobe epilepsy. And I also wish to convey congratulations to the following candidates who will be conferred in abstention today: Karen Comboy, Patrick Ford, Laura McDarby, and Claire Rock. That concludes the conferment of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations, everybody. On behalf of the School of Postgraduate Studies, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Hannah McGee for her leadership and dedication to the school and our graduates. Thank you, Hannah. I now invite Dr. Patrick O'Leary to close the NUI conferring ceremony.
Pre Honorables Pro Vice Chancellariae Totaque Universitas, Caermonis Rita Confectus, Queso Facius Finem, Heius Convocationis Universitariae. That completes the NUI conferring ceremony.
It now gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. Dervla Doherty to come forward and address us on behalf of the class of 2024.
Dear RCSI President, Registrar of NUI, Pro Vice Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Deans, Council, Supervisors, RCSI staff, Heads of School, colleagues, family members, partners, friends, Honorary Doctorate recipient, and of course my fellow graduates. I'm delighted to have the honour of giving the valedictorian address on behalf of those graduating today. To all of my fellow graduates, a huge congratulations on the award of some of the highest academic achievements in Ireland, including Masters, MDs and PhDs. It can be easy to forget with the relief of getting to the finish line what a huge achievement this is. The awards today reflect many years of hard work and dedication, of failing again and again, then failing a bit better, and eventually succeeding. As everyone in this room knows, successfully completing a higher degree requires the support of innumerable individuals, both here in the university and in our personal lives. However, in the interest of time, I would like to mention just a few particular groups today. Firstly, behind every successful higher graduate is an excellent supervisor and their team. Personally, I would like to thank Professor James O'Donnell and my co-supervisor, Dr. Michelle Lavin, for their constant inspiration and support throughout the PhD process. In addition, as a university with a clinical and patient-centred research focus, there are undoubtedly many teams as well as patient study participants in hospitals across the country who have been critical to the success of many of the higher degrees being awarded today. I would also like to take this time to say a huge thank you to all of our funders and collaborators, without whom many of our research projects would not have been possible. Last but not least, I would like to acknowledge all of our families and friends who have provided constant support in the background over the years, some of whom are in this room celebrating with us today. For me, that means my husband Patrick, as well as my parents and my grandmother, for their support not just in the past few years, but during the many years of education that has led to this point. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to all of you today. It truly is a great privilege. Sorry about my hat. Congratulations to all of my fellow graduates. Enjoy the celebrations and best of luck on your future careers.
Thank you, Dervla. I'd now like to invite the Registrar of the National University of Ireland, Dr. Patrick O'Leary, to address us.
President of RCSI, Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors of RCSI, Dean, honoured honorary graduate, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and in particular, obviously, to our new graduates. As Registrar, I'm honoured to be here at the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland for this afternoon's conferring ceremony. I'm delighted to welcome those who are being conferred with master's degrees and doctorates as graduates of the National University of Ireland. I and we at NUI are continually impressed by the range of academic programmes and specialisations that RCSI offers at postgraduate level. A growing postgraduate offering signals that RCSI anticipates and swiftly responds to the healthcare sector's needs. The diversity and quality of the awards is testament to RCI's faculty, staff and research and development facilities, which have attained great prestige. I note in that the recent topping out ceremony and the continued expansion. Academic study and research at postgraduate levels are demanding and intensive activities, often balanced with other responsibilities. Your studies have required determination and stamina, in addition to significant intellectual capacity. For this and for your sustained academic efforts, you deserve great credit. But not just to you. Today is also a joyful occasion for the parents, family and friends of new graduates who have all earned the right to celebrate, have suffered with you, have supported with you, and feel proud of their loved one's great achievement today. You've all worked hard at expanding your knowledge, extending your skills and developing your professional capabilities. On behalf of NUI, I give you our warmest congratulations on this special day of your conferring. Also, congratulations to Professor Sir David Spiegelhalter, who's just been awarded an Honorary Doctorate, for his contribution to medicine through statistics, enhancing our understanding of risk in healthcare and medical research. Today is a fitting recognition of a lifetime of contribution and distinction in his field. I'd also like to note, as have others, that this year's conferrings are Professor Hannah McGee's final Dublin conferrings. Her contribution to RCSI and to higher education in Ireland is immense, and it is an honour to share the stage with her. For the university, the conferring ceremony is a celebration not just of your individual achievements, but the tremendous potential that you offer to the future. I've no doubt that in the proud tradition of RCSI alumni, you'll make a significant contribution to the advancement of our society in Ireland and around the world. On behalf of NUI, I offer warmest congratulations to all who have been conferred today. I know wherever you go, you'll be worthy ambassadors of RCSI and NUI. My very best wishes to all of you and to the President, Registrar and all the staff of RCSI who have contributed to the success of these graduates. I wish you personal and professional fulfilment, good health, good luck in the years ahead and celebration today.
Thank you very much, Patrick. That concludes the RCSI degree conferring ceremonies. I'd like to also acknowledge a significant event at this ceremony. This is the last formal conferring ceremony that will be presided over by our President, Professor Laura Vianney. I'd like to thank her as her 2-year term of office comes to end next week for her wise counsel, her leadership, and her stewardship of RCSI, and indeed her deep friendship to all of us, and thank her for her work over the last 2 years. I'd also like to take the opportunity to congratulate and thank the PIs, the School of Postgraduate Studies, our Office of Research and Innovation, and all our professional staff who've made this journey possible. I think there's little that's more daunting than undertaking a postgraduate degree, oftentimes dealing with busy work and family challenges. But it's also a prodigious undertaking for your families. And I'd like for the last time perhaps to ask you to stand up, turn around and acknowledge the contribution your families and friends have made to achieving this milestone. And finally, following the outward procession, I'd like to invite all our new graduates and your families and guests to join us for the conferring reception in the College Hall and Boardroom. And if I could ask you to be upstanding for the outward procession. Thank you.
you.